quite a few. Mike, last night, yours did pretty good, right?
I killed mine after that thing.
Okay.
That's not the point, Robert. It's keeping them alive.
It wasn't intentional.
So usually when you're grafting, you select from your best hive, best stock. And it's real nice laying padding there. There's 4 reasons why queens, they make queens. You got your emergency, supersedure, reproductive, and swarm, overcrowding. I like to overcrowd the bees when I'm grafting. That gives you a real good take on your grafting cells. And these are the grafting frames. Usually I get probably 75% take on these frames.
What are those? Like, what am I looking at today? Like little cups?
That's right.
Yeah, there's cups in here.
Okay.
You can pass it around. You can look at it if you like.
Can I ask you a question, Jeff? Just so you put a lava in there.
1 to 3 day old larva. We'll get to that.
Okay, good. I knew you would.
So those pictures of the swarm cells, they make your best queens. There's a lot more bees in the hive, so they really feed those cells really well. And supersedure, I use that sometimes. If I get a queen cell, lots of times I'll cut it out and I'll put them in these frames and drop it down in another hive. I just staple it shut, and that will give me some extra queens.
If they're like this at the bottom, you cut those off, is that what you do?
If I can get those off without destroying them, I'll cut them off and save them once they're capped, or make a split.
But you just basically leave them like that, or how do you utilize that? I mean, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
I've got a bunch of these. I'll cut them off and I'll set them inside here,
Okay.
and I'll staple it shut. It's just cheap for me, staple it shut. Put them in a hive, the ones that have.
You don't have to hang them up or whatever?
Just stand them up, set them in here.
Okay.
They'll hatch on their own.
They'll hatch on their inside hive.
Yeah, because they're already capped in the go.
They're already capped. You gotta wait until they're capped. Another supersedure cell. Now, 2 days before you do your grafting, you want to start your nuke starter. And what you do is you go in and shake 3 frames of nurse bees into your nuke. Now we get them ready to accept your grafts. That's just showing you a nuke. What I do is I use a double nuke. I'll put a feeder in one, some frames down the bottom, shake 3 frames of bees in it, and let it set for a couple days, and then I'll go do my grafting and drop the frames in there. And if they take, you'll have 20, 30 queen cells. And this shows you that you want to graft 1 day old larvae if you can get them. And you got eggs for 3 days, and then you've got the 1 to 3 day old larvae you want to graft. And usually at 8 days, they cap the cells, and then you want to think about adding a queen cell, a queen cage. Because if you don't add your queen cage, when one hatches, it'll go around and kill all the rest.
We need queen bees.
Yes, it is. That goes right over the,
Slides up over there.
slides right on top. Where did that come from?
It's a hornet.
That's a hornet, that's, yeah.
Yeah, that's just good.
That's it.
They're able to feed them after they're hatched.
You'll be able to feed them after they hatch.
There you go. That wasn't a bee.
I wondered.
Jeff, usually the first one that hatches will go around and kill the other one.
First one to hatch will go around and kill all the rest. So you gotta make sure you cap them. And it takes 6,
Okay, so in other words, the yellow up there, if you catch them in 3 days, you can put them in that, bring them around.
No, you want 1 to 3 day old lavity, you can't graft the eggs.
Oh, the eggs, oh, I thought you did eggs.
No, lavity.
Have you ever seen that movie from, what's that movie? From Something to Something? We told about, what's that movie on Netflix?
More than honey?
More Than Honey. I thought that little old lady smoking the cigar with the glasses
Yeah.
was taking egg cells out.
Yeah.
Well, no, these are eggs here.
Yes, that's what she was getting.
I graft lavity, and that's what most people do right now.
So, if you, can you go back one frame? Where's the one that showed the yellow and the?
Just lost it.
That's okay.
The reverse is burned out. The reverse is messed up. I'm going the wrong way.
Yeah.
Sorry, I didn't mean to get it.
Technical glitch.
Good job.
Stop.
Going back.
Going the wrong way. Now it's started over.
It'll come back on, I can see it coming.
Yeah.
Hey Jeff, while it's doing that, will you, because there's new folks, can you explain what grafting is?
Grafting is when you go in and take 1 to 3 day old lavity with like a Chinese grafting tool, and you put them into a cell cup, like this one. This is JZBZ. You put them into a cell cup, and then you drop it down into a queenless hive. And they'll make it
With
with
the nurse bee, that's when you put it in the milk, the nurse bee. Put it in the hive with the nurse
I'm in the market.
Oh, yes. We'll stay with you. You probably do it, you try the cells, try a little bit of royal jelly, then
Oh,
take out the hive, a little bit of water.
Okay.
And take this tool. It's called Chinese grafting. You just reach in there. See about the last one. Out of the hive, and rub it into the cell. That's how you do it.
Now, what do you do with all these hatch? Do you have fires for them?
If they all hatch, you get them.
So where do they live? If they're not sold?
Well, on a virgin queen, you can only keep her, I've heard different stories, 7 days, I've heard 21 days. Anything over 21 days, they'll be a drone like a queen. So you gotta get them mated as quick as you can. Excuse me, you start to do, you can do one, like the Queen Hotel over here, this has got 4 compartments. And so you guys can see it. So you got 4 compartments in here. So you put a frame of food in each one of the compartments and a frame of bees in each compartment with nurse bees. So you can run 4 queens at a time in here. You can use it for mating, or you can use it for making a queen. I've used them for making a queen. You just drop a frame of nurse bees in there with 1 to 3 day old larvae, and you've just made yourself a queen 90% of the time. Question?
I was gonna say, I did that last year, and I ended up with 1 queen because I think 4 took a ride, and 3 came back.
That happens. Now here you can see, this is what you really want to graft from. You can see just the whole cell's not filled up with royal jelly. So you know that's a fairly young larvae. You can see these are eggs, those are not quite ready, but if you, this one here, that one up there, those are good to graft from, even this one. But if you start getting into the cells that are full of royal jelly, that's too old. You don't, they won't take it. It's a lot of fun. You can see the yellow frames are a little bit harder to see. It's a bad angle.
Hit the slideshow.
Started over.
Of course it did.
can see that we, so, you know, these are the ones you want to graft right. There's an advantage to a dark colored frame if you're grafting, because you can see the bees a lot better. And this isn't a very good angle, but you can see that one up there would be able to be used.
You said you put this in a queenless hive, so you either have lost a queen in the hive, or you have to go and kill the queen, and use that for the nurse bees to start these.
You can remove a queen from a hive, or you can shape 3 frames of nurse bees into a nuke statter to make the hive, statter hive. What you do is once you start the statter hive, you leave it in there for 24 hours. Then this is the way I do it, I take it out of a hive and put it into a bigger hive that's got a queen excluder on it. Queen in the bottom box, I bring some brood up above, and the bees will come up and feed those queens and cap the cells. So
You have to put that queen's cage on, though.
you have to put that queen cage on after the cap, because if one hatches, you're gonna lose all the queens but one.
How long after you put it in there for the cap?
They'll cap a queen cell in 8 days. And you gotta figure that you're working with 1 to 3 day old larvae, so you know, you gotta take that into account. That's just another photo, a very good one. Grafting tools, I passed some grafting tools around. There's a Chinese grafting tool going around somewhere. That's what I like to use. Here's another grafting tool.
Hey, Jeff?
Your wife asked first.
Okay.
Yeah, I asked first. I have a newbie question. How do I know that these are nurse bees? Are they the bees that are on a
Good question.
brood frame?
Best way to get your nurse bees is go out at noontime, daytime, when all your bees are out, your worker bees are out flying. And you pick a frame that's got larvae on it, young larvae, and they're feeding them. So that's a good time to get them midday. When it's out nice and warm out, that's when you get your nurse bees. Good question.
Thank you.
What I was going to ask Jeff is, it seems complicated, but it's resources, right? If you do this and you only get half the queens that you graft done, that's twice as many queens as you had before, right?
Yes. I mean, normally when I do a grafting frame like that, I'll end up with 10, 15 queens or more. And, you know, if you've only got 2 or 3 hives, then you've got to work with the club or somebody, because you got to get them queens mated somehow. You got to have a place where you go, because you've only got a short time to get them mated. Grafting, I'll jump here a little bit. This is a non-grafting method here. I've got this off Bushy Mountain. And what you do is you put your queen in this kit, and you check her every 2 or 3 days, and when she starts laying her eggs, you go back and keep checking until they hatch, and then you know you got the perfect age larvae, 1 to 3 days old. So when you get that, you just pop these cells out of the back, and you put them in those frames, and you just made some queens without grafting.
I like that.
The disadvantage to this is getting the queen in the cage.
And not having her fly.
And not squishing her, because I've done that a couple of times.
That would happen.
So you just cut that box in the middle there? You just cut it in? and put
You
it
just
there?
cut it into a frame of wax.
Which method have you had better success with?
Excuse me?
Which method have you had better success with?
I like grafting better because it's easier for me. This works. You have to check the hive a lot more, get in there, because they don't start laying the first couple of days they're in. It might take 3 days to have them start laying. This one here you can buy on eBay for $15, $20. It doesn't fit quite as tight as the one you buy off Bushy Mountain. You know, it does work. That's all I have to. Push the button. So usually you prime the cells before you start grafting. Usually use a little distilled water, make sure it's room temperature. So you can mix a little royal jelly with it, and then you're ready to graft. Out of, I'll pass them around. Out of the frames, you take some, 8-day-old bees or something like that, and you start pulling it out. There's a lot of royal jelly in there. You can steal some from them to put into your grafts. And there's the master grafter, which is here tonight. I thought he might get a kick out of that. That's one of my friends. We started him young in Charleston. And that's just some bees that have accepted some of the grafts I've done. I bought stuff off from eBay, and I've bought stuff off Bushy Mountain. Stuff you buy from eBay, from China, lots of times, the stuff doesn't fit quite. It's a little loose fitting and stuff. Sometimes you have to put a little beeswax in it, but it is a lot cheaper. More grafting frames I've done. Small queen cells.
You put one grafting frame in a box?
No, depends on how big the hive is. Lots of times I'll put two, at least two in there. What takes. There's a lot of cells on each frame. So basically, after grafting, you want to make sure that you cap your cells at 8 to 10 days, because if you don't, 12 days, if you don't, you're going to queen hatch and go through and kill all your bees. It's just the queen cages. Bushy Mountain, it's got those. You buy them on eBay. You can use JZBZ. That's JZBZs. I haven't used those yet. Just tells you when to install your cages. And I just drop them down between the frames. I also use this if I got a queen that I want them to accept. You put a queen in there. I just put a queen in here, and it gives them more room to get around the queen and accept them better.
You put the attendants in there, or just a queen?
Just a queen.
And food?
No, I drop it right next to a frame of brood, and I'll feed it. Anytime you're putting a queen in, you want it near the brood, because they'll keep feeding the queens. And you can queen bank them. You can take 20 queens and lay it down on top of the hive, and they will feed them. You can only keep a virgin queen for a short period of time. That's queen banking. It's one way to store some queens for a short period of time. And they just use queen cages and attach them to the frames. Some people tell you the queen needs to mate within 1 week. Some people say 20 days is the maximum. If they don't mate within 20 days, they're going to be drone wingers. So the sooner you get your queen mated, the better off it's going to be. Just some more queen banking. I built a few of those. And that's one of the queens I made last summer.
Can you point it up for us?
Yeah, some people. That's the queen right there. Russian queen.
So you gotta be at her mating within 20 days, so how do you go on that?
Well, you just let her out to fly. I mean,
But she's gotta have a home.
well, you put her into a new or a queen hotel and allow her to fly. I mean, if the weather doesn't allow her to fly and she doesn't get out there, you can't keep her in a queen bank or something for over 20 days and expect her to go out and mate, because she won't.
How does she know where to go?
They always do. If a bird doesn't eat them. I had one queen that flew into one of the other hives, and I was 2 weeks trying to catch her. I had two queens in a hive. I kept opening it up and trying to catch her. It took a while to catch her. Every time I'd get in there, she'd fly back out again. I did get her. That's, where is he? He's busy talking.
Yeah, you're on TV.
Dale, you're up.
Hey, Dale.
Oh, on the screen.
He knows all about grafting. He's the man. That's just a picture of another queen hotel I sold offline. And this is the Master Queen Hotel.
Yeah.
Which I think he's gonna leave. It was hard to get stuff in and out of it.
Was it?
Yeah.
Did it work?
Yeah, I think he made one queen tonight.
Didn't really work much.
I don't know how many he started with, you know what I mean, but I know that he had one in there.
Usually when I start this, these petitions need to slide out. So if I get a queen to accept in frame one and the middle section doesn't accept, I'll just pull this out, let them combine and get them started, and then I'll transfer them to another hive. These are excellent if you want to just make 3 or 4 queens. This is the way to go. Easy. Now if you want to make 30 queens, then the grafting is the way to go. Thought I see a hand. And that's some of the methods that are going around now. That is easy except for getting the queen into the box. That's the hardest part about that, is getting the queen into the box. Last year I used my little queen catcher here somewhere. I used this queen catcher to catch one of the best queens, only I managed to cut her head off in the process. So I do it by hand from now on. I don't use that anymore. But
Where do you grab the queen so that you don't hurt her?
right by the back of the wings, wherever I can get a hold of her.
Not a stinger.
That works, but you gotta be careful.
I got some of those. I wasn't sure whether I should try them or not.
Well, be careful.
Oh, yeah,
Because
okay.
I had a beautiful black queen.
Still not sure I have the nerve to try with my hands.
Yeah.
Well, I was like that, and I finally give up and just said I gotta do it by hand. And queen rearing kits, there's all kinds you can buy online and stuff. You can get them on eBay for little or nothing. I mean, they're so cheap.
How much do queens cost if you had to buy one?
30 to 35.
$30 to $35. Usually, if you get somebody that's raising northern queens, they're a special breed or something, that's probably 40, 45.
You really would want northern ones with as far north as we are, right?
Well, my experience, the Italians haven't been doing as well as they should, and
Yeah.
some of the other breeds have been doing better. The Italian bees make a lot of bees, and they don't have a tendency to winter as good, especially if you're coming down south. But they do make more honey. That's one of the cops. Queen-rearing kits. For somebody that's starting out, if they don't want to do grafting and stuff, and they can't see well and stuff, I mean, that's okay to use. You just have to get in the hive and check it a lot more, and spend 2 or 3 days going out, looking at it, and seeing if they've started the eggs or not. And once you get them to lay in it, then it's good.
Have you ever tried the on-the-spot queen rearing?
Excuse me?
On-the-spot queen rearing, where they deform the bottom edge of the cell and the bees.
I haven't tried it, but it would work.
Yeah. You just have to get eggs at the right stage, right?
Well, you'd have to cut them off and drop them in the nukes at the right
I mean,
age.
to have the bees start them, you have to.
Yeah. Well, if you cut it at jagged edges, so they'll make queens out of it. And you can go, I've gone in and taken a hive and taken the queen out, and just let them make a bunch of queen cells and go in and cut them out. The bees are gonna do it for you. Nothing's rocket science about this. It's all easy. The best time to do it is when the bees would normally make queens, mid-May, late May. The dandelions start popping. That's when we're all gonna get swarms.
I'm not this year. This year I'm not.
You need to check for queen cells.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, I'll give you that frame, you can plug them into that, keep the queens.
You got your ladder out yet?
Oh, it's still in the tree, no.
Can you talk about the timing? Because when's the best time to make a queen and when's it too late to make a queen?
You normally want to make queens when bees make queens, so they usually start making queens along towards the end of April. That's when it's, end of May. And that's when the food's starting to roll into the hives, it's warm out, and that's when they're getting ready to swarm. That's when they're gonna make the queens.
So if we get to 10 days from now, 15 days from now, 10, 12 days from now, the dandelions are going crazy.
and all of a sudden you're seeing queen cells.
I'd make a split.
What do you get, well, why don't you talk about that?
Making a split.
Yeah, just, what would you do at that point?
Well, normally if I see a bunch of queen cells in my hive, I'll either make a split or I'll go in and cut out the queen cells and put them in that frame that's going around and save all the queen cells and put them into a hive. And that would give me, 6, 7, 8 queen cells.
Yeah. Are those queen cells normally at the bottom of the hive, bottom of the frame?
Swarm cells are normally at the bottom of the hive. Queen cells can be up higher, but those are supersedure cells. You don't want to cut them ones out because they're replacing your queen for some reason. If you take that out, you may end up with a queenless hive. So you really only want to take out swarm cells, unless you've got a ton of supersedure cells. No.
With this system here with the box, so after she's laid the eggs in the little cup, and you come in and you see that, oh, she's got them pretty well full, so I'm gonna take her out.
You want to wait until they're larvae before you take them out.
Okay, so you're gonna take her, no, but I say you're gonna take her out, put her in either this hive or another
Put them
hive.
back in the original hive.
But I don't see how you get the queen cages on this.
What you do, can you see that? I'll show you. You just pop the back off this, and you take your knife and pop these out,
Oh,
and you
okay.
put it in the grafting frame.
Okay.
Oh, so she just laid it in the right place?
This is just to collect the larvae.
Okay.
And then once you're done collecting the larvae, you're done.
Then you're still gonna use this.
You're still going to
Those
use
cups
that,
can
whether
be
you use
used.
grafting or using this cage.
All right.
Do you sell queens?
Yes.
Why do you laugh?
That's a good question. She asked if he sold queens, and he said yes. If you only had 1 or 2 colonies, what's the best way to do it? Because you don't need a frame.
Well, it depends on how many splits you can do. A full-size colony, you can split 4 times. So, Dale, you got what, 2? You got 2 hives?
Yeah.
So you could split those hives 8 times. So you need 6 queens to do that. So you can make up 6 queens and split it. I went last year, I had 10 colonies. I went up to like 34 colonies during the summer. I think it was 34 I made out of those 10 hives.
So,
I mean, you can
how
increase
late
that.
do you- before you stop splitting it?
Well, you can do it as late as July, but if you do it late in July, you're gonna be doing some feeding to get them through the winter. So usually, mid-June is when you wanna stop raising queens. Stop raising queens to make split. Now, if you wanna raise queens to replace old queens, that's a different story.
That's a good question. Is it better to replace a queen in the late summer than in the spring?
It's always nice to go into the fall with
With
a
a
new
new
queen. Always done. Off with the head and in with the new one.
And would you do that before the goldenrod came?
Yes.
What do you consider an old queen?
One that's not laying good. If I have a problem with queen, I don't hesitate on removing her. I mean, I've had queens 2.5 years before and not had problems with them. But some people say you should change them every year. A new queen is less apt to swarm than an older queen.
And if they get real ugly too.
They get real ugly. Those are the best hives, keep it.
They're not the nicest, they're the strongest.
So how many people are thinking about queen rearing? No, you. Okay.
And to answer his question, if you do have a queen and it's not doing well, requeen her, don't hesitate, because that was what happened to me last year.
Waste of
I waited
time.
and waited, I kept thinking that queen's gonna come around, she's gonna come around, and she didn't. By the time I requeened her, it was too late. I ended up, I was into the goldenrod, and by that time, I said, there isn't enough of these here to mess with it. She can't build up a hive for winter. So I gave up on it.
Yeah, I had a few last winter that I should have requeened, but I just didn't have time because of certain reasons.
Well, my biggest question right now is going into goldenrod is, if I split, I mean, I know obviously I can split because they went through the winter, they're strong. But I'm just worried about the balance between splitting and becoming a weak hives, a bunch of weak hives, rather than a stronger production hive. what's the balance? How do you,
I took a lot of 4-frame nukes, double nukes, the Mike Palmer style. We
Yeah.
got a 10-frame box and 2 4-frame nukes on top.
yeah,
I got quite a few of those through the winter last year,
yeah.
and I started them in June.
I mean, as far as production, it seemed like,
Well, you're gonna cut, if you start doing a lot of splits, you're gonna cut down your
Yeah.
production. You gotta make a choice, splitting.
would you, like say I've got 7, I'm gonna take like half of them and split, another try to keep strong?
That's up to you.
I mean, if it were yours.
If it's me, I
Split them all.
just split them all.
Yeah. I have to hide hives so that we can get honey.
She is the honey person, I am the bee guy.
I'm a Libra, I like the balance, you know, so I
Yeah.
want maybe half and half.
So I
But there's
bought,
7, I don't know what to do now.
I bought some Italians for her, for honey raising, and the rest of them are mine. And those will
I
turn
have to
in.
actually put them somewhere else.
Really?
Off the attic.
Jeff, and if you just have a few, 1, 2, or 3 hives, it's still not a bad idea to do like if you see queen cells, drop them into a queen hotel or a nuke.
Yeah, well, something like this, you know, especially now that it's gonna start warming up hopefully in the next few weeks, like, maybe. I mean, this, you literally can just have 1 frame of nurse bees in here with a frame of honey, and you can raise a queen that way. And you can hold them in this, because once you get the queen mated, you can just close her in, and she's there. She's not gonna swarm and leave the box on you. You've got her trapped inside the box.
About making resources, if you're not worried about needing queens, you just, their insurance, but having them draw a comb, you know, and moving brood from one, you know, like, say a 4-frame nuke or a 5-frame nuke into another colony.
What's that again?
If you've got a nuke and you really don't need queens, like this year I may not, I'm gonna make some queens, but I'm not gonna worry about making queens to sell. I just wanna have some extra in case something happens. In the meantime, you can use them to build up stores.
Well, you can actually run 2 queens in a hive if you want to.
Okay.
2-queen hive. I mean, you can put a queen excluder and a
Yeah.
couple boxes between them, and you can run a 2-queen hive, and then come fall, you do away with 1 queen and let them combine.
I prefer that.
Yeah.
You've done that, John?
That's what I just prefer that because I don't have time to manage a lot of hives. So it's when I 3 or 4 or whatever hives, I'll just put them up top like that, put a queen excluder in between. And that way if the older queen stops not laying well or something happens, I have that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's why your hives are like 17 feet high, right?
Yeah, well, I like that.
I don't like that. I don't
No,
like that.
I saw pictures that you have it like, they were taller, way taller than you, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And those are 2 queens.
Last year, not all of them, a couple of them were single.
But that's not a bad idea either, because then you have, in case you need it, you have it. If you don't, you end up with a huge amount of stores.
Yeah.
And it's still a good production hive too.
Yeah.
It's